Well, old girl still looks good, doesn't it?
I'd say he's a nut job.
Okay, so what's the plan for today? Today is road trip day. Gonna chill out here and wait around till some of the fog or not frost, some of the fog, or I can't think this morning, till the sun burns my windows clean. How's that sound? Well, once that happens, I want to leave from here, and there's an O'Reilly's Auto Parts, according to GPS, about 2 miles from where I'm at. I'm gonna roll in there, pick up some parts, some spare parts, and probably use their parking lot to address those hot wheel bearings. Going to change the fuel filter on it, and that may be all I do there, so I can hit the road. Actually, I won't get those slicks off the back of it and get some real tires on the back of it, some street tires on the back of it, before the popo sees me running the slicks on the road and it turns into a big rut road. Anyway, this is something that is very exhausting if you try to attempt it without a co-pilot. That was my decision this year. There's a lot goes into it, and even from the standpoint of being at the track and listening for who's being called while doing stuff, even something that simple is freaking light just turned on. Even something that simple is turns into a task. Anyway, today is road trip day, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a road trip. Making a list along the way of things that's gonna change on that car when I get home with it. Whew, it ain't getting shorter. So apparently that's what $100 worth of wheel bearings in this part of the country look like. Holy crap. I figured out part of my problem. I will say I've got trash in my fuel system. Look, the filter is just floating around in there. It's not actually attached to anything. It's just floating around. Yeah, buddy. Another unforeseen problem that I didn't think about. This belt is tight, but the way I couldn't get the bracket that I needed for the alternator, so the way I had to do it is I had to rig the alternator up so it was mounted up high. Well, the problem is, and I didn't even realize it, still doesn't seem like it should be doing it, is the angle the alternator's on, even though this belt's tight, with not a lot of force, I can slip the fan. Cruising, nothing's wrong. When you wind the RPMs up on her, you can hear the belt squealing because it's slipping on this fan. Again, not the best scenario for racing, but works for cruising. So this alternator is going to have to get relocated and mounted back in a factory location. I want to give a good shout out to this O'Reilly's location here in the hell am I at? Florence, for hooking me up with some much needed parts, some bearings and things. Turns out the bearing is not why that thing's getting hot. The brake's actually dragging on that side just a hair. So yeah, road trip. So the reality of it is, I've been driving for about an hour and I've seen nothing but beans, corn, and trees. Nothing else. I have a slight brake issue that has developed that I'll go into in just a few. But I really need to find me some kind of little town somewhere that I can just pull in and park and let the car sit for a few minutes and cool off a little bit. Not cool off as in it's running hot. He's like, what the shit is that? But just cool off so you can actually touch stuff and see what we can do about it and talk about it. If you want to find things you need to fix on a classic car, take it on a long road trip. Yeah. Cool old church, so I pulled over. We will not be making passes today. We have an issue. Let's see if I can show you what it is. Do you see that spot? Yeah. By the way, I just took the drag radials off, and I say the drag radials drive better than street tires. But anyway, that spot that you see under the rear end, that is not gear oil. The, what do you call that thing? Distribution block that goes in there where the lines come in. Apparently it has a crack in it and it's dripping fluid, and no local parts store has one of those. So I'm going to have to, I don't know. I've got brakes enough to drive. I just don't trust them to stomp on them. So there won't be any pass for us today. But you're gonna get some good road trip footage out of it. Check out this cool church. Car looks good parked here, doesn't it? Cut that one short a little bit. There was a guy come up and asked if the car was for sale. Come up and ask if the car was for sale. No, sir, I can't sell the car. My wife's car. How much money you got? Wow, that was from yesterday. That's not good. Woo. All right. Well, we're gonna hit back on the road. We're gonna get back on the road. Just had to stop and hang out at this cool old church. Hopefully we'll find something else along the road to stop and be cool. I'm still going to see if I can find a part store that may have that little block in stock. But if not, I have two options. One, roll up and break the beams and back out, and they'll just give me like a 20-second time slip. Two is we just call it good, and we made two stops this year, and we've been on the road for 3 days, 4 by the time we get home, and we've cruised this wagon a lot of miles, and it's just cruised. The problem with pulling up, breaking the beams is it's actively dripping a little bit back there when you hit the pedal, and I don't want to put brake fluid on the track. I mean, I don't want to cause anybody else any issues. I'm just out here trying to have fun. There's guys out here taking this shit serious, and I'm just out here for a good time. So let's hit the road. Road trip advice. In the event you cannot find a local dive to eat at, there's one alternative. The Waffle House. That is the only alternative. Stretch brake, not really gas. Put $10 in, which is 3 gallons. And in that stretch, I was leaning on her pretty hard. I had her in 5th and had the wind swinging through her. Fuel mileage dropped a little bit. It got 22 miles to the gallon exactly. This does not need to turn into a hot rod. This needs to be a family cruiser. I really need to resist the urge of trying to make this car faster and better when this needs to be a family cruiser. Not everything has to be a hot rod. It can look like a hot rod. It can sound like a hot rod. But this needs to be a family cruiser. Jeez. They've got a, well, I guess every time somebody says, well, we know exactly what they're talking about. I guess it's the town water. Huh. Hey, listen, I finally found me a place I could stop and chat a bit. Here's the real of the situation. We are out of competition. I could not get the brake part I needed, so I am out of competition. However, does not mean I'm out of drag week. I could rejoin the group at the next stop and do exhibition passes and still do drag week, just not in competition for a win. So here is tentatively the plan, and I may not do it, I may do it, I don't know. Their next stop is Bristol. I cannot get the part till tomorrow, so I'm not gonna be able to get the part and make it to Bristol. So tentatively what my plan is to get the part tomorrow, spend tomorrow touching up a few details, and then possibly rejoining them at Aiken, which means I have turned from Rockingham and started home. because I can sleep in my own bed tonight. Mind a competition anyway. I can sleep in my own bed tonight, sleep comfortably, get the part tomorrow, and work on the car tomorrow, and possibly rejoin them. Then again, I don't know. Let's think about something for 1 second here. What we have done, what I have done here. I have taken a 55-year-old car, thrown some parts at it in like 3 days, and right now we're at 484 miles, getting 22 miles to the gallon. And other than the issues I've had, I haven't had any issues. You know what I mean. At the end of the day, I've had a broken fuel filter, and I've had a rear brake issue with the fitting that's leaking. I honestly think that's all the issues I've actually had. I had an intermittent miss, but it seems to have cured itself. I strongly believe it was water in the fuel. You know how that goes. But let's get back on the road. Let's see some more of this beautiful country. Hey, listen, you don't need a drag week itinerary to see stuff like this. Get the old GPS out and hit avoid highways. Avoid highways. Avoid highways. You get beautiful little towns like this that you get to explore, that seemingly have a well covered up in the middle of town. Get out and love this country, brothers. All right, so we're back home. Drag week itself is not over, but competition is over for me. I just did not feel comfortable going down the track with a rear brake issue. Even if the car stops fine, I know it's dripping brake fluid, and I don't want to put that on the track. I could not get the fitting on the road, so I chose to turn from Rockingham and come back home, sleep in my own bed, get the part that I need, and repair it. Probably what's going to happen is I'm just going to miss Bristol, which is tomorrow, and I will rejoin the group on Thursday at Aiken and be exhibition. Let's talk about old Loretta here for a minute. First off, we just drove, don't miss this, we just drove a 55-year-old station wagon 484 miles total. What else can I say? She cruised at 190 degrees the entire time, held 50 pounds of oil pressure the entire time. Honestly, other than we had an intermittent miss and the drippage on the brake, other than that, we really didn't have any issues. Turns out it wasn't even a wheel bearing issue that I thought we was having. This cap was a little warm. Turns out it wasn't a wheel bearing issue at all, and I actually didn't do anything to these wheel bearings. But now I have spares in the car. The little miss, pretty sure was a fuel issue. I still believe we got some water in the fuel. I changed the fuel line, put some additive in the fuel, and it seems to have cleared itself up. Now, there's some issues with the car that need to be addressed. They're not issues that hinder the performance of the car in any way or the drivability of the car. It's got a terrible exhaust leak on that side, and other than having to listen to it, it's really not that bad. On the way down, it was pretty bad because all the windows was up because of the rain, and was getting a little carbon monoxide in the car probably. But again, exhaust work. It's got absolutely the wrong gear for a hot rod. This thing cruises at 80 miles an hour, turning 1,500 RPMs. It got 22 miles per gallon. I just averaged it out. The average for the entire trip was 22 miles per gallon. What can I say about that? So now I'm at a crossroad. I could change the rear gear, make the car a little faster, possibly in the future. Some aluminum heads, intake, really weight this motor up and make this thing really get. But we got the Galaxy. We're building Wayland. Does everything need to go to the racetrack? You know, of course, I'm probably going to say yes, but honestly, this car is a great vacation cruiser the way it is. Fix the exhaust on it and cruise across country in this thing getting 22 miles per gallon, and it looks stinking cool doing it. I kind of want to leave it alone. What do y'all think? Make some performance upgrades and make her get a little harder, or just leave this as a nice family cruiser that we can cruise anywhere we want to. This one's probably 100% going to do Power Tour this coming year, without a doubt, just because by then I'll be able to do the exhaust and all those things, and it cruises so well. Maybe put a radio in it before then, because I'm telling you, hearing the sound of my own voice for 3 days, I got on my own nerves. But oh, maybe a windshield wiper motor, you know, so we don't have to do the whole thing, that thing again. So maybe a windshield wiper motor. Cosmetic stuff. This car really is a great cruiser. So I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think. Here's what I do know. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to wrench on the car a little bit. Maybe I'll have company. I don't know. But tomorrow, I'll wrench on the car a little bit. Thursday, chances are I will rejoin the group at Aiken. But I don't know. But there's a couple things I want you to take away. I decided to do drag week this year alone. That was my decision. Don't do that. You don't realize, let's just use a simplest possible scenario. You're laying under a car working on it, and you just need a wrench. You got to crawl out from under the car, go to the toolbox, dig for it, get back out, get it out, get back under the car, get repositioned, and you're probably going to realize you had the wrong wrench and have to do it all over again. But if somebody else was there with you to hand you that wrench, just that enormous amount of time savings right there. Who knows? Maybe somebody else with me could have come up with some kind of other part that we might have been able to figure out there. I kind of got, locked down there for a minute where I'm like, no, we need this part. Maybe there was something else that we could have used that I didn't even think about. I thought doing it alone wouldn't be a big deal, just because I'm pretty familiar with how pretty much everything goes together, and especially with this car, I put this car together. But at the end of the day, just the time savings, even swapping the rear tires out and back, taking one tire off, having to get the other tire and roll it over, and somebody could have handed it to you. You know what I'm saying? Just don't do it alone. The other takeaway I would say is, if you're putting a car together for it, put it together to survive the road and let the passes lay where they will. You can make a car faster, but you can't really make it more and more roadworthy. It's either roadworthy or it isn't. So this one right here, man, again, 484 miles in this thing, and just absolutely cruised. I have enjoyed it. It has been a blast, and I'm I already like this car. This is my wife's car, but I already like this car. But I'm telling you, other than the fact I didn't really like the seat, uh, I love this car. This car was so much fun to cruise for the last few days. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. If nothing else, this is as real as it gets, you know, the ups and downs of it. We made it. Got a mouse in my pocket. I made it further this year than I did last year. And at the end of the day, I think I'm going to end up finishing it out this year. I don't know. It all depends. Maybe, maybe not. But what I will say is it's an absolute blast. I don't regret any of it. But I do wish I'd have taken somebody else with me. It's been a great adventure. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think next year, I've got a plan for next year that is pretty close to already ready that could have went this year, that I'm going to be loading up road miles on between now and then. And I think next year we actually try to push for a class victory. I don't know. I just said that. I don't know. What I do know is I pretty much have the Power Tour car lined out for next year. That's a bonus. Hang in there. See what we get into. Like I said, tomorrow is going to be some maintenancey stuff, and we're going to get back after it and see what happens. Y'all hang in there. I appreciate everyone who has followed along with this, who has liked, subscribed, commented, and all that. Hope the Lord blesses y'all more today than it did yesterday, and we will see you down the road.
I'd say it's a nut job.